Artificial intelligence has become prevalent in almost every facet of life, including embroidery. You have probably stumbled across AI-generated images that depict embroidery before. Some of the photos may have been convincing enough that at a glance you may not have realized it wasn't real. I'll be the first to admit that AI can be beneficial for specific tasks. I use it occasionally. However, I believe AI mostly shouldn't be used within the embroidery community, especially not for pattern designers. In this video, I wanted to share how and why AI can harm the embroidery community and how you can spot AI patterns. It harms not only embroidery artists who sell their original work, but also customers who are shopping for a pattern to stitch. If you've never watched one of my videos before, hi, my name is Amanda. I am a hand embroidery artist, and I generally tend to make tutorial videos, but every now and then I like to make a chatty video about creativity or something that's relevant in the embroidery community. I don't personally use AI for referencing images or for making my patterns. I've always felt uneasy about using AI in my design process, so I've always chosen not to. I don't think I'm in the minority regarding how I feel about AI art. There have been lots of discussions in the art world about the ethics of AI-generated art, and that's really the main reason I won't use it. The models have been trained on other artists' work, making the, quote, art they generate questionable and unoriginal. I know some may counter this saying that art is just recycled ideas anyways, but there is nothing human or even creative about a computer model creating an image. You barely have to think or use creativity to prompt a model to create one. In fact, the image I featured at the start of this video is an example of what an image generator will produce. It's not the most convincing image out there, but it took me less than a minute to type in the prompt to generate a relatively decent photo. I also don't agree with using AI for embroidery art because it goes against my motivations and reasons for making art. Yes, embroidery is slow, and sometimes I wish I could crank out more of it with all of my creative ideas. But embroidery is handmade, meaning it is intended to be made by hand. For me, embroidery is a way to get in touch with an age-old handcraft. It's about expressing my creativity, problem solving, and reconnecting with various traditional skills and crafts that many of my ancestors did for enjoyment and sometimes even out of necessity. From hardanger that my Norwegian great-grandmother made to quilts that my Mennonite great-grandmother stitched, you can't tell me some computer-generated design is better or more meaningful than some of the heirlooms that women in my family made with their own two hands. I cherish these heirlooms so much because of the love and hard work that went into them, as well as the invaluable skills that have continued to be passed down through the generations. Do a search on Etsy for hand embroidery patterns and you'll most likely stumble upon hundreds if not thousands of AI-generated patterns. While the images are improving and becoming more accurate, any seasoned stitcher can look at them and notice stitches that don't make sense or an overall finish that looks different from what real hand embroidery looks like. These AI patterns appear to be completed designs, but once you look at the product descriptions, you'll usually only get a line drawing with minimal instructions on basic embroidery stitches. While I understand the convenience of having a design that you can transfer, I personally sell a handful of line drawings and see nothing wrong with that. These patterns appear to be completed in the product thumbnail, which is deceptive to say the least. In reality, the product doesn't help the customer in the stitching process, and the, quote, finished product will never look the way the product photo looks. This leaves the customer feeling lost and confused, and I have personally had multiple people email me asking for suggestions on how to embroider an AI-made design they purchased. I've seen some people rationalize and defend using AI images for patterns they sell, explaining that they know how to embroider and check that the stitches are accurate. However, even if the stitches appear to be mostly accurate, most AI-generated embroidery has a look that I have never seen someone replicate in real life. Kelly McKernan said it perfectly in this New Yorker article, Is AI Stealing from Artists? It has, quote, this general sugary candy look, end quote. Not to mention, most AI-generated embroidery looks the same. What were initially founded as handmade marketplaces are sadly bombarded with the same embroidery styles, giving everything the same bland and, dare I say it, artificial look. While shops are usually supposed to disclose if they use AI in their process, not all of them do. So here are a few common patterns to look out for if you're trying to avoid AI-generated patterns. The accompanying product photo is usually generic and doesn't show the specific embroidery design that the listing is for. The overall appearance of the embroidery can look like it's popping off of the fabric, and the design may appear smoother, almost too perfect. The stitches may appear to lay or curve in unnatural ways. The art style is very inconsistent when you look at the whole shop. Every listing has mock-up quality backgrounds, perfect lighting, generic or repetitive backgrounds that look surreal, etc. No progress photos of the stitching process are included, and customer photos look nothing like the product photo. So, is it truly wrong to use AI for reference images? While I don't necessarily see anything wrong with generating an AI image and referencing it for personal work, the problem I see with it is that most of these sellers aren't even stitching or testing out the designs. They are, frankly, being lazy. They're pumping out hundreds, if not thousands, of unrealistic AI-generated embroidery images, and their art has no personal spin on it. This, in turn, confuses customers and saturates the market even more, which makes artists who make authentic work suffer. Most of these AI embroidery shops sell their designs for unreasonably low prices, which also harms and cheapens the market. To put it in perspective, I work full-time doing embroidery, and the most I have ever produced is 3 or 4 embroideries in a month, and that is a very productive month for me. No one can keep up with a shop that puts up 500 listings for embroidery patterns in such a short amount of time. This video may have felt a little bit scathing at specific points, but I feel very passionate about this, and I think it's an important topic to discuss and inform people about. Whether you decide to support AI embroidery pattern shops is your decision to make. For me, supporting shops that create art that reflects an authentic human experience and actually celebrates the spirit of handmade seems way more meaningful. So, if you're searching for authentically made embroidery designs, I have many hand-tested and hand-stitched designs in my shop, and I would also be very happy to point you in the right direction to other embroidery artists that do fantastic work. Please leave a comment with your thoughts and questions, and as always, keep embroidery handmade.